Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds! Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds! Hello, nerds!
Hello, nerds!
Haha! Nel, Nieves, welcome to the show, my brother. It's good to see you again.
What's going on?
I appreciate the kind of the unveiling.
What's going on?
It's been a crazy week. We, of course, have, it seems like half of the Trump elite inner circle hospitalized or testing positive and in quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
We have a big debate coming up this week. And other than that, a few weeks till we pick our new president. But other than that, it's just kind of normal, right?
Yeah, pretty much kind of normal. Who's debating, though? It's not
Trump. Oh, we got Harris and Pence.
Oh, Harris and Pence. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it'll be. I think it was going to be kind of a so-so event before, but with the president, in Walter Reed, needing to take experimental medication, apparently going on oxygen on Friday, and then this interesting kind of dissonance between conflicting reports from within the White House about his health. Suddenly, the vice president role kind of rises in importance.
Absolutely.
It's ironic because, I know the Trump supporters for a long time had said, "Oh, a vote for Biden is automatically a vote for Harris because Biden is not physically able to be president."
Mm-hmm.
Now there's an interesting question: is is a vote for Trump really a vote for Pence?
Yeah, and unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, right.
That really is,
he's in his, he's in his 70s. He's in a hospital. He had to have oxygen. He's obese, so he's got all of the comorbidities. So it's a tough conversation because you never want to talk about, well, what if somebody expires? But it is also our presidency, and we need to think through all of the implications.
Correct. I mean, when it comes to Trump, first I'll get it out there and I'll say, I'm not. I don't want to see him die. You know what I mean? That's not. There's a lot of people that I've seen on the internet that they kind of seem like, oh, yes, they're so happy that he got it. I'm not happy that he got coronavirus. It's not a disease that anybody really should. That would be nice for anybody to go through, right? So I'm not happy that he got it. Now, am I particularly sad that he got it? Not really, only because he hasn't been the most advocate for safety and protecting yourself, right? So just having him now with this whole thing happening, it's kind of like it's kind of like an "I told you so" moment, right?
It is. I mean, there is a little bit of karma in there. I think part of it is nobody, of course, as much as I find Trump's leadership deplorable, I don't think he deserves to die for it.
No, correct.
On the other hand, I also think we have to acknowledge that he has been the loudest spokesperson for dismissing mitigation efforts.
Correct.
For mocking people for doing social distancing. He literally at last debate was saying to Joe Biden, ha ha ha, your events have circles showing people need to be 6 feet apart. And look at you, you always wear a mask.
A big mask.
Right? Yeah. Oh, look at you. And so I think either he realizes it or doesn't, but there are tens of millions of people who interpret that as a reason not to take seriously public health mitigation efforts. And even if you look outside Walter Reed right now, there's a lot of Trump supporters demonstrating and showing their support, and they say, well, we're going to pray for the president, and he's such a courageous fighter. But they're doing this unmasked in large groups, screaming. Yeah. And so it's like, well, hold on, like, you're outside his hospital room because he has a deadly virus, and you're still standing around spitting on each other. Like, correct. What more do you need? Like, how many more people need to be tested positive? You got Chris Christie, you got Kellyanne Conway, you got Hope Hicks, you got the campaign manager, you got the head of the Republican Party, you have senators. Like, at what point does the rest of the country say, okay, let's wear the darn masks, let's distance, and kind of do our best to mitigate this thing?
Yeah, it's a tough. I don't understand people sometimes, but I don't know where the logic is to go ahead and decide to go out and protest. Not protest, but stand in front of the hospital and still unite. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot going on, but I wish him the best. I hope that everything turns out okay, and we don't want to see anything happen to the president of the United States. Obviously, that would be a tragedy, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, it would be terrible. Let me show everybody something I saw on Twitter just this morning. I was like, what is going on? Let's see if you can see this. Can you see my screen with this video right now? Okay, let me play it again.
Are they wearing masks? That's what I want to see, because I haven't seen any of this.
Yeah. Is it playing? Let's see. It
was playing.
Frozen. Yeah, let me play it again.
I don't hear
that dude's not wearing one. And then all the people he's running next to aren't masked either. But they definitely have a lot of fabric for the flag. So it's not like they don't have fabric for the masks.
Oh yeah, they definitely have fabric for the
so I don't know. I feel like, guys, you're literally outside a hospital supporting your president who is sick with a deadly virus because he didn't take mitigation efforts seriously. And your answer is to congregate, unmask, undistance, and wave around a bunch of MAGA flags.
Yeah.
Like, the MAGA flag will not prevent the virus from entering your body.
No, neither will
unless it's over your face.
Neither will the American flag, right?
Yeah,
correct. Unless it's over your face. And, I was talking with my wife earlier today, and we were actually saying that it's like wearing a mask is better than not having a mask, right? Obviously, having coverage is almost like and sorry to say it this way, but it's almost like saying everybody should, if you want to prevent an STD from getting an STD, wear a condom. And people say, well, you know what? It's my right. I'm not going to wear a condom. You know what I mean? It's like wearing a condom. Okay, it's not 100%, but it's close to it. Having some type of protection is better than not having it, right?
No, I totally agree. And the other thing, like, with, at least to take your analogy, in that case, the two people involved in that interaction, like, they are consenting. But when you're not wearing a mask and you're going to Walmart and, like, purposely yelling at people and making a big scene, or if you're going to Target and making a big scene unmasked, well, now you're you're affecting other people's health. Like, I don't care if a bunch of people want to contain themselves in a bubble of unmasked living. That's their business. I would argue, like, I pay taxes, and I'm probably gonna have to pay higher healthcare premiums because they're gonna require assistance and hospitalization. But that's not the case. Like, they're taking their choice and imposing it on everyone else and kind of exposing everyone else to the risk. Yeah, I mean, it does. I do agree with Biden that this is like a sacrifice we all have to make for each other. Yep. It's not just about you, you know?
Yep.
Which is ironic, because I know they like to show the flag and be patriotic, but when it comes to making sacrifice, then wearing a mask is like such a huge deal for them. I think it's just been too mixed with the whole tribal kind of partisan, like, oh, if I wear a mask, I look like I'm not supporting the president.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Yep. And I just don't understand the logic. And people are still, it's funny. It's just people are still even defending, the whole thing. Cause it's somebody told me on Facebook, he's recovering. He's doing well and he's recovering. So my question to them was, how do you recover from a hoax? So,
yeah.
But, I'm just being sarcastic, but it's easy to say, it's just easy to say, he had it coming, right? I mean, I don't want to say it that way, but that's just the truth. When you egg something on so much and then you get egg on your face, it's what do they call that? Karma, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's also been inconsistent, like the information we're getting. Like, I know that the official White House reports and Kylie McEnany are saying, hey, it's just mild symptoms, but you don't get oxygen for mild symptoms, and you don't get the White House has virtually like all the medical equipment they would need for normal cases. Mm-hmm. They could have turned the residents into a virtual ICU if they wanted.
Absolutely.
But they felt the need to helicopter him to Walter Reed and then prescribe him FDA unapproved experimental treatments. That doesn't sound like, you don't do that for someone with mild symptoms.
Mild symptoms, correct. Well, I'll tell you this.
You just stay at home, work from home.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now let me tell you, I took recently, about within the past 2 weeks, a nasal swab test. Mm-hmm. I went, I got my test, and the next day I'm negative. I don't have COVID, right? Mm-hmm. But I wanted to take an antibody blood test, and I took that, and I actually have the antibodies for COVID.
Oh,
yeah. And so that the doctor told me, this means that you actually had COVID, mm-hmm. but you no longer have it. So now you have some type of immunity to it. Mm-hmm. He told me to continue being safe, wearing masks and social distancing, only because this is a new virus. We don't know anything about it, really. Right. We don't know much about it, and we don't know how it reacts, even if you do have the antibodies. And so, yeah, well, here's the thing. I am, I never really experienced any symptoms whatsoever. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It was this winter. I've had, I had one day where I experienced like high fevers. It was one night, and I said, "Oh my God, I hope I don't have COVID." You know what I mean? Like that was only. Mm-hmm. But the next day, nothing. I've never felt anything. I've been okay ever since. But I've been taking since October last year 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. And so every day I'm taking a vitamin C supplement, and I'm not saying that that's the healing factor. Yeah.
Thanks, Kristen. We got to give a little nerd gong for Kristen.
Yeah, Kristen is awesome. I love Kristen.
Yeah, so you had it. So congratulations. I'm glad you have the antibody, but I also agree with your doctor. I've heard the same thing, that we don't know how long those antibodies mm-hmm. kind of remain in effect, and we just don't know enough about this disease to go kind of not to be conservative.
Yeah, correct. Correct.
Have you seen? So let me show you something else, and then we'll get on to more topics. But I have to show this because I feel this is kind of crazy.
I saw your tweet, and I agree with you. Like, why isn't he taking hydrochloroquine?
Yeah. Right? He was talking about hydrochloroquine. Now, this is in Florida.
Oh, yes,
in September.
I saw this.
And
they're yanking. We can't hear it, but they're yanking.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll make it so you have audio. Hold on one second. Yeah. Chrome, boom, share audio. Okay, here we go. These are red-blooded Americans in the middle of a global pandemic.
Take off your mask! Take it off!
All right. So,
Yeah.
I have to believe that type of behavior is influenced by the president of the United States dismissing mitigations, masks, saying that, oh, it's just the sniffles.
Absolutely.
It's just some weird thing from China, like, nothing you need to do.
Yep.
Chloroquine will save you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just crazy.
Yeah. Here's the thing. He's a person. He's number one. He's the most powerful man in the world, right? And so he's got some influence. He's got a lot of influence over whatever he says. And this is why, when it comes to, social injustice, we want to hear what the president of the United States wants to say. And if he is speaking in favor of white supremacy or anything like that, or I mean, even though I came across some videos where I saw that, to be fair, Trump has denied white supremacy over and over and over and over again. The only thing is, actions speak louder than words. And for me, even though he says it, I still see racial biases from the president. So, an example, calling the coronavirus the Kung flu, or there's that's one. I mean, there's so many different things. I don't keep track and keep notes on everything that the president says on, like calling countries shithole countries, for example. Recently, I read an article where it was said that President Trump was asking. First of all, he called Puerto Rico a dirty country, which I may not disagree with him 100%. You know what I mean? But then he asked, "Hey, can we trade Puerto Rico for Greenland?" You know what I mean? So these are things that have been out there. Things that he does that just makes you see that. Wait a minute, he may say that he's not a racist, but he sure sounds like one.
Yeah. Along the same line, saying, well, why don't we get more immigrants from Norway? Why do they come from these other places? And,
correct.
Mexicans being rapists and murderers.
Yeah. No. And then exactly. That's another one. Like he said, they're good people.
Some of them.
Some of them are good people. Which, you know what? That's if you look at it, if you look at the statement and forget that it's Trump saying it, it's true. Some of everybody are good people, right? Every race has some good people and has some bad people. So, I mean, but at the same time, it's like, then he's saying, oh, they're bringing in the rapists. Listen, my wife is an immigrant who was brought here when she was 4 years old across the border. And she was brought here illegally by her parents. And she's not a rapist. You know what I mean? So not every illegal is a rapist or murderer. It's most people that come to this country, whether legally or illegally, for the majority, it's because they're looking for a better life. And the truth of the matter is, no matter how you look at it, and I said this when we found out about Trump's $750 tax payments, right? Illegal immigrants have paid more taxes than Donald Trump in 2016 and 2017.
Well, that's for sure.
That's for sure.
I mean,
so
I mean, it's also ironic because he is the product of immigration. Like, his mother was an immigrant.
Yeah, correct.
His own mother cleaned hotel rooms. She came from like a very poor family in Scotland, and you know how she got her visa? Because her sister was here. That's called chain migration.
Yeah.
His own grandfather was refused to serve in the German military during their national service. And so he dodged their draft and came to the Northwest and opened up brothels and bars in Seattle. Like, he is the product. His wife, two of his three wives are immigrants.
Yeah.
So it's weird why he's okay with some kind of immigration, but maybe not other kinds.
Yeah.
And
that's
what's
true.
the difference,
Yeah, correct. I mean, we're all. It's funny. Lately, in the past couple of weeks, I've changed from saying we're not left, not right, we're forward. I've
Mm-hmm.
started saying we're not left, we're not, talking about Yang Gang. We're not left, we're not right, we're American.
Mm.
That's what I've been saying, because the truth of the matter is we're Americans, and there's so much bickering and fighting amongst Yang Gang and since Andrew suspended, that it's just become so, like, all this noise back and forth about who's better, Biden or who's better, Trump, and who you're voting for, and just vote shaming people and all those things. Honestly, look, we're all Americans. We all want better lives. We all want to, there's no, when you take off the labels, forget about politics. We can get along. You know, but some people just are just so. Uh, Listen, myself included. Sometimes I become a hardhead when it comes to politics. But I mean, I don't know. I consider myself an open book, and I'm open to having a conversation with anybody about it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, and I think it's interesting. I was thinking about when we write about Trump in the history books, I don't think we're going to talk about the trade war with China or the wall or any actually specific policy. Because if you look at his policies, like, you could argue like, oh, these are like populist, conservative kind of nationalist policies. They're defensible. Like, you can come up with an argument why they make sense. I don't think that's his greatest kind of crime. His greatest crime is generating this animosity between half of the country against the other half of the country.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the jobs of the president should be to be the unifier in chief. And he has not done that at all. So
Correct.
Even if you say like, well, I like his policies, fine. Okay, you can like his policies, but look at the country that we have now. We can't get anything done. Why?
Yep. Yeah. Well,
why is everybody like literally punching each other in the face sometime in the streets? Like, are we saying that it has nothing to do with the way he's led? Like, I feel like he's got his DNA all over that.
It has a lot to do with it. When you look back at the murders of other Black Americans back when Obama was president. I went back when all this was happening with George Floyd and the killings with Breonna Taylor and everything. I went back and I looked at how Obama handled it. The very next day, I think after Philando Castile, I think it was, Obama had a press conference the very next day, and his speech. I don't remember right now exactly what he said, but I just know that his speech calmed me down, at least, and it calmed people down about the racial tensions and the need for change and the need for working towards a better understanding between police and the people. And I think Obama handled it in a way that made sense and just brought people together, or at least it just calmed the atmosphere. The way Trump handled it was totally different, and it just has actually, the way that Trump handled it is the reason why I decided at that moment I'm voting for Joe Biden. Because until then, I said I don't want to vote for Trump, and I'm not going to vote for Trump. Like, I knew I wasn't going to vote for Trump, but my vote, I live in New York, so my vote really doesn't matter. Biden's going to win New York regardless. But I was on the fence between voting for Biden or just writing in Andrew Yang, right? Because again, I'm in New York, so I could vote either way, and it doesn't matter. Biden's going to win New York City. So, but when I saw Trump, the way he handled the racial injustices and all the protests, that's when I said, you know what, I definitely need to make sure that Trump does not win New York. So I have to give him my vote. you know, so that's what made me choose to vote for Biden. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's true that not only does your vote matter because of what you're saying in terms of the signal you're sending, that you're trying to send to Biden and Trump and the rest of the country, but also like the national popular vote does matter.
Yeah.
Especially if there's any kind of funny business and kind of challenging of the results by the Trump crowd saying, oh, look, this was stolen. I think it needs to be really clear that that, you know, this was a mandate that the people wanted change. Let me show just quickly. You talked about how presidents respond to crises. I mean, remember the Charlottesville stuff, right?
Brush your teeth in less than 10
God, I got
seconds.
sorry.
An ad.
Come on, YouTube. Here we go.
You're putting what you're calling the alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this: you had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. But there is another side. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
So, I mean, that is obviously later on, he talks about how there are fine people on both sides. I mean, these are just not, this is basically Trump unscripted. Now, we can look for videos of Trump reading off a teleprompter, reading off prepared remarks that his handlers gave him. But when you want to see how he does not sound the same. I mean, one, he has difficulty reading, but two is, you know, he doesn't believe it. And what you saw just now is an angry man trying to stoke up anger against the left, saying, "Oh, it's the left. They were clubs, and they were coming at these great Americans." And it's like, are you serious?
In the way he's speaking, these are his real thoughts. Like these are these are thoughts from conversations that he's had behind closed doors.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
I mean, this is there's like sort of the public facing teleprompter Trump, which you see maybe 1% of the time, and then there's like the real guy, and I think the real guy is angry.
Yeah,
and I mean, we remember I used to live in New Jersey, growing up, and there was this a case in Central Park where a woman was raped, and he paid money.
Oh, I remember.
That's a full page ad. Yeah,
it happened with the Central Park Pride. Yeah.
And he was demanding the death penalty for these 5,
boys,
black boys who were arrested or in that area. Turns out they had nothing to do with it later on with DNA evidence. But he was ready to send them to the chair. Yeah.
And anybody could decide from that alone that he's racist. You know, so it's a hard case to sell that he's not a racist when he has racial tendencies or racial remarks, or like he may not be racist, but he sure sounds like one. Like I said,
or what about demanding Obama's birth certificate?
Yes.
And then even more kind of hypocritically demanding Obama's SAT scores and his transcripts, when he threatened to sue the University of Pennsylvania for releasing his own transcripts.
Yeah.
Like what is going on? Like this guy.
Well, not only that, he still hasn't even released his taxes.
No. And I know he says, and then he says, oh, well, he's saying he will release his taxes after the election. I remember hearing that before. Yeah.
He said that to Hillary.
Yeah. He also said that we're going to get, what was it? Better healthcare for half the costs, but right after the election. Okay.
Yeah.
Weren't you president for the last 4 years, bro? Anyway, so look, I could talk about Trump's character and integrity for a long time, but let's talk about a more positive thing now.
Sure.
You have been trying to help a lot of people running for Congress. Like after Yang suspended, it almost feels like you got more involved than less. Like tell us a little bit about your journey in the Yang Gang and sort of being a volunteer.
Sure. So I'll just get it out the way, and I'll say it. I told you this before, but I'll say it in this interview. I'm a Republican who switched to Democrat to vote for Andrew. And I've been a Republican since I was 18 years old. I'm 39 years old right now. I voted for Bush twice, Bush Jr. Twice. Then I voted for McCain. I actually had a bumper sticker that said, "Don't blame me. I voted for McCain." So that was so I didn't, I was at that time
What
when
did you think of the Palin pick?
Palin. You know what? I like that she was a young person, like she was
Mhm.
younger, because presidents, for most parts, well, I mean, John McCain was an old man, but I like the fact that he was a war hero, and him picking Palin was out of left field, right? Like nobody expected. Uh,
Mhm.
I didn't expect a female, but I like the fact that she was uh, a young, of a younger crowd, right? So that was appealing to me.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, so
So you've
anyway,
been voting Republican all
I've
the
been voting.
way.
Yeah, I've been voting Republican all the
Yeah.
way. I was a huge when Mayor Giuliani was mayor of New York. I was a huge fan of Mayor Giuliani. At the time that Trump was asking for Obama's birth certificate, I was saying, "Hell yeah, Trump! Hell yeah!" That was me.
Mm.
That was where I was. But at the same time, there came a time that I said, you know what, enough is enough. He should stop. He's already president. Why are you still going after this?
Mm.
But Obama won my vote in uh, for his second term. I remember
2012. Yeah.
in 2012. I remember when Obama, when he won the first time, his speech. He said, "For those of you who didn't vote for me, I will work hard to be your president." And I took those words to heart, and I said, "All right, Obama, let's see what you do." And
Mhm.
uh, excuse me, when Obama passed DACA, that's something that directly affects my family.
Mhm.
And I said, "Wow, this guy's really doing something for me." And he did it at a time when, he's been trying to get the Dream Act passed, and the Dream Act wasn't passing, and other things were passing. And so, because of that, I had to vote for Obama. Then I voted for Obama. My vote in 2016 went to Hillary because I did not want Trump, and my vote for Hillary was actually against Trump. This year, I did not want to vote for Trump, so I was looking for somebody, who would be the next Democrat that I would vote for because I don't want Trump. And so I made it my business to watch that first debate. And when I heard Andrew Yang speak, and he said, "I am not a politician. I'm an entrepreneur problem solver." And
Mm.
then he started talking about UBI and the effects of automation and
Mhm.
the mass job losses. That's when I said, "This is the guy I want for president." And I was Yang Gang all the way. And I started donating. I started talking to everybody and their mother about Andrew Yang. I started watching YouTubers. Actually, the first YouTuber I started following was Paget.
Mhm.
And I had no idea who she was. I thought that maybe she was Andrew Yang's wife or cousin or something. And and yeah, she laughed when I told her that. It was funny. But yeah, so I um I started watching her, and then from her channel is where I learned about Zach and Matt show, where I learned
Mhm.
about Nerds for Yang. So because she would, like, she would mention it,
Mhm.
oh, and this person said this and this person whatever, like, so she was kind of like my daily news for the Andrew Yang campaign, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I mean, she put so much time into it. It was
oh yeah,
incredible. I think
oh
she was
yeah.
uploading felt like every day.
Every day. I
Yeah.
remember, I would say every day, because every day I would leave work and I would my routine. I'm in New York, so I don't know what time she would upload, but as soon as I left work at 5 o'clock, I would go on my phone and I'd put Paget's channel. I'd see her videos, and so I'd be driving and listening to Paget talking about what's going on. She kept me up to date with the next hashtag trend,
Oh yeah.
with the next money bomb that we were going to toss at Andrew
Those
Yang. So all
are
that,
the good old days now.
the good old days. I loved it. So I've been Yang Gang since June 2019, and all I ever did was buy a ton of merch and donate my ass off to
Mhm.
Andrew Yang, right? My end goal was I wanted to donate up to $1,000 because I didn't have a lot of money, but my goal was I want to donate $1,000, and that's gonna be like the mark when I know this 1,000 is for my UBI that's coming, you know. Um, but I never got the chance because he dropped out before then. But I donated a good portion, close to it. And anyway, so as soon as Andrew Yang dropped out, I decided to be more active on Twitter. I've had Twitter since 2009 or 2010, and
Mhm.
I've never really used it. But as soon as Andrew suspended, I said, you know what? I can't lose his voice. I need to listen to what Andrew Yang has to say. I need to know what's happening. You know what he's gonna do next. And as soon as he announced that he was gonna have a big announcement on the View, I wanted to be there. And somehow somebody posted on Facebook a link where you can get tickets to go to the View to see Andrew, and I I applied for 2 tickets, and I told my wife. I said, anyway, when I got the tickets, when I got approved, I went to my wife and I said, "Oh, Jen, we're definitely gonna go see Andrew Yang." And she's like, my wife is, I would say my wife is Yang Gang, but she's not really political, you know, and
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
she doesn't really care that much about politics, and so she told me, "Oh, I'm not going." I was like, "Why?" She says, "I don't even like the View. I like the Real." You know, that was her response. So I said, "All right, fine." I said, "So let me ask, if anybody on Facebook that I know,
Mhm.
because I was not really that active on Twitter. I was starting to get active, but I didn't know a lot of people.
Mhm.
Um, so I went ahead and I posted, hey, who wants to go to the? I got one extra ticket, and there was this girl, I forget her name right now, but she said, "Oh, I'll go." I was like, "All right, cool." So I gave her my ticket, and we met at the View, and after that, we went to go eat Chinese food, and me and a group. It was like, I'll tell you, it was like maybe 50 Yang Gang, 50
Mm.
to I would say 50 to 100 Yang Gang probably. Um,
Wow.
were
You
at the
guys
View.
packed that audience.
Oh, we packed that audience, and we were loud. We were loud. Yeah. Um, yeah, so after that whole thing, we took a picture with I don't know, do you know Ching?
Mm-mm.
She's a videographer, Ching Jules. She took a picture of all of us, and and anyway, afterwards she set up for us to go to a Chinese food restaurant that's close by to the View studios, and we went there, and Jonathan Herzog showed up.
Mm.
And Jonathan Herzog spoke to everybody. He told us about his vision for Congress, and I had already heard of Jonathan Herzog because as soon as Andrew dropped, there was a website where you can go to check all of the UBI candidates,
Mhm.
and so I went there and I had seen Jonathan Herzog was running for Congress, and I started following him on Facebook or whatever. But I hadn't donated or anything at that time. But anyway, from that group that met at the Chinese restaurant, uh, it came the core members of Jonathan Herzog team, and so I hadn't joined right away, but I had signed up. They called me maybe like sometime in April or May. Um, I'd say sometime in April. I probably started in May, but so now we're talking about from March 5th was the day when Andrew Yang was at the View. By the way, Andrew signed my hat that day, and if you see,
Oh,
I put the
you should put
View.
that in a glass
Oh yes, I should.
cabinet, man.
I should, yeah. Andrew. My first words to Andrew when I met him, I said, I'm a Republican who switched to Democrat to vote for you. Andrew looks at me, he's signing, he's like, well, thank you. Such a nice guy. But Andrew went out of his way to make sure that day that I got a selfie before I left.
Mm.
That I got a selfie with him. He actually, as I'm talking about the View still, right? When I was leaving, the guard was telling me, "Oh, sir, you have to keep going. You have to keep going." And Andrew actually skipped over a few people, said, I'm coming. And, but anyway, nice guy. Anyway, to make a long story short, so I eventually started designing with the Jonathan Herzog team. And then I found out about Badrun Khan was running, and I joined her team. I know Blair Walsingham since before Andrew suspended from Facebook. We were Facebook friends, and I ended up joining Blair's team. So I was working on 3 campaigns at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I was just designing for all 3 of them, doing different things. But they had other designers too, so it wasn't like all the burden was on me. The only one that didn't have a lot of designers was I was the only designer for Badrun for a while. So I was only with Badrun like toward the end. But anyway, so yeah, I was working with those 3 when the New York elections came and went. Jonathan Herzog and Badrun Khan, they lost. So then I was just on Blair's team. So I started looking, okay, so I have extra time now since I'm on Blair's team. Let me see where else I can, get my feet wet and help other candidates. So that's when all of a sudden I saw Erica
Rhodes.
Erica Rhodes put out her announcement that she's running, and I reached out to her and I joined her team as a graphic designer. And then later on, I joined Humanity Forward, Math Movement, and here I am.
Man, you are definitely keeping busy now. I appreciate certainly appreciate everything you're doing. I feel like if there's still a strong core of volunteers who are like so ready for 2024. But I also feel like helping one kind of pro UBI candidate get into Congress or state legislature would be a huge win in the near future. So I'm so grateful that you're doing everything you are for the different candidates. In fact, in a few minutes, I'll be switching over to a new stream where we'll have Marilyn Strickland, who's running up in Washington State. And so we'll hear a little bit about her. But before we kind of wrap up now, tell us, are there any topics or things that you wanted to bring up for the audience?
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say Blair Walsingham, she is working on a commercial that will be air on TV, but it's not cheap to air on TV. So if anyone watching this, if you can donate anything to blairforcongress.com and just donate so that they can just start airing these commercials of her in her state to help her win in November. We only have a few weeks left. That would be really appreciated. That'd be great. Also, want to give just want to say, if you live in California, vote yes on Prop 24. That's basically an organization that is they're pretty much championing, hey, your data, your privacy, your data belongs to you, and that's really what it's all about. You can look that up. Tomorrow, Paget and Matt are going to be phone banking for David Kim, and I will be joining in and phone banking in Spanish, hopefully, if there are any Spanish speakers. By the way, Marilyn Strickland, I was phone banking for her last week.
Oh, well done. Yeah, I'll have to mention that to her.
Yeah, listen, I get my feet wet everywhere. So I phone banked for Russ Cirincione. I've done little things here and there for David Kim on the side. I've done things for just so many different Yang Gang initiatives, I like to call it. I'm doing graphics for Humanity Forward, and helping the organization in any way I can. So I try to help. People reach out to me all the time. Hey, Nel, can you help me with this? I've helped Yang Gang Fitness. I don't know if I can say this, but I'm helping, and I'm not going to say the details, but I'm helping Yang Gang Book Club with something, with a special project. There's a lot of things that you've probably seen out there that you don't even know that it's me that did it. So. But I don't care for the praise or the recognition. For me, it's all about pushing the movement forward, and that's all I want to see.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I appreciate everything. You're touching so many parts of the movement. It's great to see, and maybe someday I'll hit you up for some help with my other project of the people.
Oh
where
yeah,
we
absolutely.
could get some design help.
Absolutely. I've done things even for Barrington Martin,
Mm-hmm.
and also with hey, what's up, Trev? Um, yeah, with the Trickle Up, I'm working with something with boys, helping them out. So yeah, definitely.
So
There's
Soldier One has a quick question for you before we wrap. Could you discuss your theory that Andrew will wait for a chance in a Biden campaign, and if that doesn't happen, he'll be running for mayor?
yeah. So this is a whole discussion, but I believe that if Andrew Yang's just waiting to see if he gets a cabinet position. If he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't, then I think he's going to run for mayor. That's just my theory, you know. But if he does, I'm ready. Listen, and one of the reason I'm doing all these things, all these Yang Gang initiatives, and getting so involved is because, again, when during Yang 2020, all I ever did was buy merch, uh, and donate, right? And
Mm-hmm.
follow and tell everybody. But when Yang suspended, I said, I have to do more. There's more I need to do. There's more I can give. And all of this, I see it as I'm preparing myself for Yang 2024. Because as soon as Andrew Yang announces, I want to be on that team. And I'm going to be on that team. That's my end goal. And I said, I'm going to be on that. I'm going to help Yang get elected and be president of the United States. That's what I want.
I love it. I'll be right there with you, man. I feel like we should get some rest.
Yeah.
Because I feel like 2022 to 2024, we're gonna be working our tails off to see how far we can get Andrew, and if we got him into the Oval or at least one step closer, that'll be a huge deal, and it'll be worth it for everybody. And I just want to thank you for coming back on the show. I know we had a chance to chat what was it, when we had the panel discussion?
It was about 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
And it's always good to see you. I know we kind of interact a bit on Twitter, but so inspired by the work you're doing. All volunteer, giving your time. I know you could be, spending it on other things. So keep up the great work. And with that, I think we're going to say goodbye, nerds.
All right. Goodbye, nerds.
I love